Hello and welcome to the Tyrants and Training podcast. I'm the host, Kevin Ryan. This little podcast invites guests on to rule over their own country in any way they like, whether you want to be a tyrannical tyrant or a lovely one. Today's guests are a trio of comedians known as Those Four Misfits. There is, I'm going to ruin the names here if I'm honest, because I'm so bad at names. But Doug Kane is there, and there is Ryan Preventure, and there's also Jane Hopkins. And hello, everyone.
Hello, greetings.
Yes, see, I wasn't talking to myself. So there are three people that we have. I need to ask the three of you because, I mean, yeah, you're a trio of comedians known as Those Four Misfits that I am correct in saying, right? Do you think the three of you can get along ruling a country?
Absolutely, of course.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you think the three of you will, I mean, you'll have one, like you'll take different parts of the island and then rule it? Or will you all rule, like it'll be one country. It won't be broken up into regions.
I'm going to go with the three of us ruling the one country because then we get a day off.
Okay, yes. So you can say, Ryan, you're in charge. Don't do anything.
Yes.
You know what to do, and then you take off 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's ever thought of that.
Sure.
So what we do is, I mean, we can't really set you up a new country where there already is a country. Don't think that's really fair. So what we do is we pop an island up out of the water somewhere. Anywhere in the world you want, we can do it. No problem. Terraforming is very easy. And yeah, that's the first question. Where do you want, I mean, any of you want to kind of lead with this? Where do you want the new country be situated in the world?
I kind of like tropics just because then we can wear shorts all day if we feel like it.
The only problem with the tropics is we want to be in a place where maybe there aren't horrible hurricanes, so we're not always dealing with,
Ooh, good point.
Or large bugs.
So let's go midway between tropics and cooler.
So you want to kind of go along that line of like kind of Central America, somewhere around there, or a bit north to south of it, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep, sure, that works.
We are North American, so we're not super good at geography.
Okay. Well, you know what might be really good if you went somewhere like Greece, right? Somewhere in the Mediterranean, because you're going to get. I know the temperature is done differently, but like you're going to get balmy weather.
That sounds perfect. I say we do that.
Mediterranean it is.
Throw it into the Mediterranean, somewhere near Italy or Greece.
Yeah.
Cool. What we do is we usually say the island is going to hold 10 million people, so don't worry about that. It's big enough for 10 million people. There's no overcrowding. It's lovely. Oh, we need to figure out, do you have any ideas what titles you're going to give yourselves? What official title you should be all known as?
Let us see. I kind of like
These on.
prime ministers.
Prime Minister, do you think Prime Ministers for all of you?
Prime Minister A, B, and C.
Okay.
No, wait,
Oh.
we're near Greece. So alpha, beta, and gamma.
Alpha, beta, gamma. Are we saying alpha, beta? I'm going to suggest though, again, just a suggestion, completely ignore it. Do you think that if one person is called alpha and then one person is called beta, it kind of implies a hierarchy? Now you can decide it doesn't.
Alpha.
Well, that's not going to work, Doug. That's like you can't all be. You'll never know who's who.
Ryan, yes, and
Oh yes,
Fine. It'll be alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3.
So to get around.
alpha, beta, alpha. There we go.
Okay, so the official title. By the way, who's alpha?
Doug, of course.
Ryan.
Okay, and who's alpha, beta?
No.
Alpha beta is let's go with Jane.
Yep.
Okay, so Jane is alpha, beta, and then who is alpha, gamma?
That would be me.
That'd be Ryan.
Okay, so if I have it right, if I have it right, the three leaders of this country are Prime Minister Alpha, who is Doug,
Yes.
unless you ask Jane, who then it is Ryan. Prime Minister Alpha Beta, who is Jane, we all agree on.
Yes.
And then Prime
Correct.
Minister Alpha Gamma, who Doug says is Ryan, but
Yep.
Jane says Ryan is Alpha.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Whew. Okay, fine. When we're
This is
setting
going
up,
great.
this is going so great.
Nailed it.
Does great mean great on your new country, or does it mean terrible, or are we towards?
Oh no, it's great. This is going exactly how I hoped
Okay,
it
a
would.
very positive country.
Yeah, very positive.
Oh, when we're setting your country up, Do you want the two choices I give people? It's do you want an inner circle of advisors and people running the country? So we'll say a dozen people. That's your inner circle. You choose them. The three of you choose them, and they're your guys. Or do you want the citizens of your country to elect 100 senators into a Senate that they handle the everyday boring stuff? But you three of you are the prime ministers.
Well, having the people electing a Senate has worked out really well for the United States so far.
Unquestionably.
There has never been any problems whatsoever.
Unquestionably.
So I think I'm going to go with the small council.
Okay, small council.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. We
Okay.
are all in agreement on that one.
Are we calling it a small council? You don't want any name for it, or we can just go with small council, yeah? Okay, small council. I'm just taking notes, but usually I forget to take notes halfway through, but hopefully we'll keep going. We need to get a name on your new country. So yeah, if anyone has a good name.
I think it's the happiest place on earth, but that I think Disney took that. So
I mean, you've just set foot on the island, Ryan. you've just set foot, and you've called yourself Prime Minister Alpha Gamma. But
let's go with Jane's.
Which?
Ooh, I like that one.
Misfitopia.
Misfitopia.
Misfitopia. I love it. Much better than the happiest part.
Misfitopia. So it is a utopia or dystopia for misfits, whatever their point of view is.
Sure.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
That is
not bad.
We're going to call it a utopia because it's going to be perfect for us.
Yeah, you rule. Why wouldn't it be? If it's not a utopia while you're in charge, then I mean you need to think highly of yourself. Okay, cool. So while you're on the island, actually, just wondering, this is a new island that you've set foot on and claimed mine. Do you want to tell everyone any sort of mythological story of how you found it, or do you just want to say no? We just arrived there, we found it, it's ours, that's it. Or do you want to give people like, oh, God told us to look for a place?
I would say we were in search of a theater for a live show.
So one day you left LA.
Yep. We were like, we played every theater there, so we're going to look for another one. And we got in a boat
with the GPS.
With the GPS
on the west coast of US.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the Google Maps that doesn't measure blocks correctly.
Of course.
That was before we started recording, but
but it's still a very funny story. Yeah.
It told us to turn left, if I recall correctly.
And you're on the west coast of the US.
Well, it just told us to turn left, but they never said where.
Okay. So
which caused a circumnavigation of the globe.
So you went you went past Australia and India and places like that, and then went in through the where the Mediterranean goes out into the Atlantic. So you went past Morocco, and then halfway through arrived onto this island looking for a theater to play in.
We used the old GPS, the Magellan GPS, which of course take us all the way around the world. So.
Yes. And then when you arrived on the island, was there a theater? Are we saying there was one, or did you just think, oh, it kind of looks like one?
No, there's probably one there.
Pre-built.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One there.
Well, the people there knew that someone would be coming to do great performance, so they had built this theater knowing that there would be these group of people that were going to arrive to bring great comedy to their civilization. So.
If just as one of your small council Prime Minister Alpha Gamma and possibly Alpha Ryan, you're the first person who's ever mentioned that this island had inhabitants already on it. Usually people just show up like it's a blank island that we bus people in or fly people in. But you're saying that there was inhabitants, like primitive people already there waiting with a pre-built live theater.
No. They were not primitive. If they like theater, they're definitely not primitive.
So they are fully modern men and women.
Yeah.
They are definitely enlightened if they like theater. So
but they had no ruler.
Their previous ruler had gone to find a theater because they'd already played that one.
Yeah.
And they're probably in LA.
So is it one person or more than
that
one?
Was one. That was one. They were doing a one-man show there. And so they left. And so think of us more as the leaders in residence.
So by the way, do you know, did you find out the name of who this old ruler was, or old tyrant?
His name was actually inscribed outside the theater.
Yes.
His name was Reginald Humbug.
Reginald Humbug. Did he ever do a live theatre adaptation of Scrooge?
Absolutely, of course.
Oh, fair enough.
It was a one-man show, but he was able to do Scrooge as a one-man show, which was pretty outstanding.
Was it well received?
Yeah, it was, but I think he felt that he had done everything he could at this particular theater,
Right.
and he had done as many of the one-man shows as he could do. So
that show's a bit of a bummer when it's a one-man show, because there are no ghosts, so he doesn't.
I mean, I'd find that surprising, because I think if there's one aspect of it that would work really well, is him talking to nothing, because it's the ghost. But apparently that didn't actually go down so well. People wanted to see the ghost, you're suggesting.
He tried to do it with like PowerPoint projections.
Oh God!
Like with a digital projector, where he projected the ghosts onto the walls of the stage, and it did not go over very well.
Does not. PowerPoint usually, people cringe at that, don't they?
Exactly. There were glitches, and people started playing on their phones whenever they see a PowerPoint presentation go up. It was not as well received.
I mean, it sounds like the people already here are very artistic-minded community, right? So it's good luck that ye showed up and not a military tyrant.
They really wanted someone like us. Like, the people have been craving for not one person, but three people who are going to come in and not only bring great comedy, but just be able to unite a people around three, good leaders.
And I guess because they had watched this one-man show of Scrooge, they probably thought, I mean, if we get three rulers, they can do a three-person show of Scrooge. So worst comes to worst, is going to be twice as good or three times as good. But so
in fact, that was how we were able to prove ourselves to them.
Oh my God!
When we showed up, they're kind of like, "What you got?" So we had to very quickly put on a three-person and one puppet, strangely, production of
Can You Scrooge? What happened to Puppet?
The puppet, unfortunately, was lost in the Great War with Macedonia.
With Macedonia?
No, Macedonia. It was a small little tribe which was also in the Mediterranean. They literally had like a village that was floating on rafts.
Okay.
And they misread the Macedonia, so they went Macedonia, and they were swiftly.
So
but
this
unfortunately,
tribe,
we lost the puppet.
This tribe, this tribe went and looked at a map and randomly saw the name Macedonia and went, "I'll have some of that," but then just misspelled it. Okay. And you went to war. So you went to war. The funny thing is, a few people have named their countries after like a fictional planet in Star Wars, which I've replied, you can't sue a country, and it just moved on. But you're completely going against that. I'm really fascinated. Why? So you came in, did a three-person Scrooge show to take over the country, and then immediately went to war with Macedonia. Was that just to establish dominance, to show we mean business?
Well, you've got to prove yourself somehow.
Sure.
I mean, there's always going to be somebody that's going to want to establish dominance. I mean, for example, when you're in the prison system, you have to pick the biggest guy and show that your sense of strength. Well, we didn't have that, so we just chose a random floating tribe to show, hey, we mean business.
So in your example, you went into the prison, quickly did a stage show so all the other people would think you're cool. Then to establish dominance, you looked around, didn't really fancy the tough guy, but spotted the malnourished, tiny little guy who was half asleep and decided, I need to take that guy out.
Well, you don't want to go above your weight class. I mean, you want to win.
No, of course, yeah, no. And you're just getting into tyranny, right? Okay, right. So got so off track. I was going to say, do you have a name for this country? I know they probably had a name before, but you're the new rulers. You can do what you want.
Well, Jane, the
Miss Vitopia.
Miss Vitopia, yeah, she's in charge of naming.
Yes, sorry. You've got through Miss Vitopia. I'm going to say, what type of house do you want to live in? Where do you want to make your residency?
I would say that just so that the three of us would be able to get along, we need three different residences.
Oh yeah, sure. We can. Are we going to set up the houses in three different regions of the island, like spread out? Or are you going to be centralized? Or
well, it's not so much of a house; it's more of like a dressing room at the theater.
I mean, are we styling it like a literal dressing room with beds, or are we?
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's a very large dressing room, but it's essentially, think of it as you've got the theater, which is the capital of Miskatonic,
Right.
and then the 3 branches off, which are essentially the stately green rooms where we are staying.
Okay. And will the 3 of you will you conduct your tyrant-y work at your house / green rooms, or are you going into an office somewhere and working and then coming home?
I like to go into the office because I don't like.
Yeah,
to
I
mix,
think we need a central. We need a central place where we can all kind of bounce ideas off each other, and if we got to attack somebody, we can all just kind of check that GPS map and make sure that we're hitting the right place. So yeah, I think we're all together in one central location.
So you need an office so that you can attack people efficiently. I'll make a note for the.
Well, if and when that's needed. Yeah.
When that's needed, I'll write that down. When that's needed. Okay. Can the 3 of you tell me, just when you're going on official duties and stuff, what's your official attire? What's your what robes or what suits or what are you wearing?
I always have a sash on. Sashes are lovely.
Sash.
Yeah. And
anything written on it? Do you want us to, or any design or?
Well, the Gamma Alpha symbol on it, and I think for me personally, I think you'd be this way too, Doug. Is we're pretty casual. We're wearing shorts and
Shorts,
maybe flip flops, depending. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to look like we're part of the people too. I mean, The sash kind of shows, for me personally, kind of shows that we are the ones ruling, but
right.
we're also we also relate to our people.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see normal people wearing a sash anyway. So once you have the sash on,
General.
That's
yeah.
So Alpha Gamma has a sash on. Does Alpha Beta, Jane, do you have a sash as well?
I do, and I put it over a suit and tie combination.
Suit and tie. Okay, sash, suit and tie. And then does Alpha have a sash and anything suit and tie? Or are you kind of going with yes?
I'm jeans and a black t-shirt.
Jeans
that's
and black.
Primarily what I wear. In fact, I have basically said that unless you are associated with the theater, you are not allowed to wear black unless you get express permission. So that's one way that you'll be able to see who I am.
So no wearing black shirts, or just no wearing black anything, pants, shoes, everything.
No black unless you get express permission.
If someone doesn't, what happens?
Then they are forced to watch the video of the one-person Scrooge adaptation.
So are we saying, what was his name? Reginald Humbug. He was an unpopular ruler, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was hated. You're very adamant about this, Alpha Gamma.
They were not fans of his work. He had to very quickly close his one-person adaptation of Waiting for Godot. It was just seen as way too confusing.
I mean, I've asked some of the small council to go out and ask the people, what do they think, and honestly, from the results of the polls, the survey, the fact that Reginald was in power for 70 years is just mind-boggling. The fact that he was hated so much, and yet here was an 88-year-old man doing a one-person stage show, and he was still in power. But yeah, note of that. So, what we have to do is, we just want to get the country up to 10 million people because, well, to be honest, that's the way we've been doing it all along. So I'm doing it. I just need to get a message to the border guard. Sorry, who's because there's 3 of you. Are you delegating? Are you kind of going to do different things in the government? Like, is one of you going to deal with foreign affairs, domestic, security, education, anything like that? Are you all going to do it? Or so, for example,
we'll meet, but also delegate as far as who it is that we're
right.
What our various duties are. But yeah, definitely.
So, who will I come to when I want to ask about immigration, people coming into the country?
Me.
Yes. Excuse me, Alpha Beta. Just need to figure out when people come into the country. I need to tell the border guards, is there any restrictions on people coming in? Or is there anything like we don't want to let in people who don't know how to ride a bicycle? Anything like that you want to?
I would say everybody is welcome. It's probably at check-in, don't be open carrying. Probably that would be something. I would say we would have tighter restrictions on stuff like that than the countries we're maybe used to. But it's the assumption is anybody who's who's coming in is coming in with the best intentions, loves theater.
Yeah, you're more than welcome if you love theater. So the border guards, if they see anyone openly carrying anything, boot them out of the country, right? If you have an apple in your hand, we don't want any of that shit. Get out of here.
Well, it's if they're introducing foreign produce, then that's a bit of a slap on the wrist.
Okay.
They do have to give it to the guards, so if the guards sample it and go, "That's actually good. I would like it if that was invasive."
Would they have sent a memo to me. They have an issue with a very proud new father who was openly carrying his son through the airport, declaring, "Look at my beautiful baby." Now we've detained him, but yeah, he was belligerent about it. He was saying, "This is the happiest day of my life." He had the baby just out in the open, just here on his chest. The thing. So yeah, what do we do with him? Do we behead him or what?
We give him the option of coming into the country and leaving the baby behind, or going on national television and admitting that, contrary to what he says, it's not.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go just put the baby in a bag next time, but you have to dismiss your own baby as being.
He can keep him, but it wasn't so much it was just rankling everybody that he was going. I mean, have you ever seen a cuter baby in your life? And they're going,
I mean, it's not a great baby, let's be honest. Yeah.
So he can keep it, but he needs to show it.
By the way, just if we just take a quick 10 seconds here. When you meant open carry, you meant guns, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, but we're just going back to that. Yeah, no, we will include everything.
Initially, but including everything is a great idea.
Sure, and at least then, I mean, there's nobody can complain about being targeted, because everything, you shouldn't be open carrying anything. Yeah, cool. We can do that. That'll get in a lot of people, or get rid of a lot of people. We do have something that I'm just going to open up to anyone. Or does anyone who's working in the office today? Does anyone want to take this next email?
We're actually all in today. We knew that we would be having particular meetings, so we wanted to make sure that we were all here.
Yeah.
So.
Just looking at this email, Lauren sent from the Foreign Affairs Office.
Again.
She's constant with emails. She's just noticing here, Misfitopia is top of the list of countries, but it's an unusual list. Again, I don't really know how this email works, but she's asking you, what is your Misfitopia top of as an unusual list? I really screwed up this question. I'm so sorry. What unusual list is Misfitopia top of?
Well, Ryan's been really good at this one because he's been in charge of promotion, in charge of really making us look good in the rest of the eyes of the world. Yes. And he's been making sure that we, through various methods, social media, through various news outlets, even through carrier pigeons, let's be honest, it works. Really has been able to get us on the tops of a number of different lists. In all reality, Ryan, do you want to go ahead and explain just a few of the lists that you were able to get us on top of?
Yeah, one of the things that we are incredibly good at is letting people know right before that we're going to fart, and so everyone's sort of aware. And with the diet restrictions that, the way people eat pretty healthy on our island,
Misfitopia, yes.
Yeah, Misfitopia. We actually have some of the sweetest smelling farts in the globe. So although we are able to let people know slightly ahead of time when it's going to happen, people are actually coming together for them because they smell so good. They smell sort of like oranges with a little bit of a rose in there, but the nice thing is, let's say you hate oranges, it actually changes for the person. So if they don't like oranges, they'll smell like peaches. It's actually quite lovely.
I can hardly believe it.
And it doesn't change any of the atmosphere. So the methane that comes out of it is actually, surprisingly, with the food that we eat here, is actually good for global climate change.
So carbon neutral farting is what you're suggesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is this,
in fact, due to all of the windmills that we have around the country, the wind that we produce helps to, when we break wind, we actually convert the wind into wind power for the entire country.
And is this just something in passing, or is this like a job people have of, like, you don't have people lined up against a windmill?
No, it just everyone contributes in their own way, and because of the way that the wind shears kind of move, that they do go towards the windmills and are able to
actually
create our power.
We had a question from a journalist actually about this, because it is an amazing top of the list. Didn't even know there was a list of it. I didn't even know how you'd calculate all the country.
We knew about the list because of our social media platform Tutor.
Right.
So we kind of knew and promoted it.
The journalist just mentioned that he just wanted to get clarification. That was this an initiative by the three of you? I suppose Ryan, that you or excuse me, Alpha Gamma, or was this already there? He showed up.
We had noticed it when we got to the island, but nothing was really being done with it in a positive way. It was just kind of, wow, we have this, it's nice. But we were the ones that put the windmills in. We were the ones that really sort of took something good and made it great for our country. I mean, you have to imagine, like literally, we can create our power through something that smells beautiful for everybody, is carbon neutral, and brings power for everyone. I mean, and each person contributes to this, so we're all part of a team together to be able to make this happen.
Now, I do have to give kudos to Ryan on this one. The way that he launched the wind power on this one, to show how good it is as far as the windmills and how effective they are. We did put on a production of Man of La Mancha right there, and we changed obviously things, but we called it Tilting at Windmills in order to show the power of the windmill itself, and that was all Ryan. Sorry,
it sounds like a very patriotic play, or patriotic production indeed. Almost magical in how that list came about.
It was.
So I was going to go with, so someone, Ryan, Alpha Gamma, you're also in charge of promotion, right? I might actually follow up with this one. So there is a documentary crew coming into the country, just see how it's going up, because a lot of new interesting things are happening to Misfitopia. So when they come out of the airport and they're driving into the capital, they see a big billboard saying, welcome to Misfitopia or whatever. We just need to know what image or what text would be on that big welcome sign billboard.
I think because there is so much of the passing the gas to make sure that we're creating power for our country, that it's really because now we're sort of past all of the, like, our country never got hit with COVID. We were really really lucky. So we have always embraced one another when we see each other, and every time people sort of embrace that allows them to relax, and the methane is released, and people and this beautiful smell, and that hugging allows people to feel really welcome. So it's really this welcome here. We all smell beautiful.
Here we all smell beautiful. Okay. Welcome here. We all smell beautiful. And then on the image of that, is it just a lot of people hugging, or?
It's a lot of people hugging with just a little bit of like mist in the air that we know is
Well, we kind of gather, yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. It's a lovely little message. I've to ask. I suppose I'm going to hit Alpha with just need domestic policy. What seemingly mundane thing is banned in Misfitopia?
Well, unfortunately, we had to ban ballpoint pens.
Really, ballpoint pens?
Yeah.
Is there
we found it extremely distracting when we would be having a meeting and people would just be clicking the pens.
Ah, yes. This is your small council where they had it, or? Yes.
Yep. So we had to get rid of the ballpoint pens, and we're actually finding that local fauna was actually returning once we got rid of the clicky pens, the ballpoint pens, because the constant chatter resembled some of the mating calls of some of the local birds, and they were off looking for. once they were gone, the birds were able to return and repopulate.
Yes, I mean, how many goddamn pens were in that country? That's what I'm really alarmed about. If an entire
there were a lot.
The previous ruler obviously really liked them. So
right.
Was Misfitopia in its previous incarnation, that was top of the list for ballpoint pens, I believe. Was that true? And then it's now after shooting down below North Korea. Okay.
Yeah, we actually drove Office Depot out of business as a result of us not using the ballpoint pens anymore. We were one of the Misfitopia before. Misfitopia was actually one of the largest importers of ballpoint pens. We brought a lot of them in, but no longer.
Do you feel guilty? Any of you feel guilty about Home Depot going out of business? No. In fact, there are no depots anywhere allowed. Home Depot, Office Depot. No, there are no depots. I have another email here. It's a bit of bad news. I think Alpha Beta might need to take this one because you dealt with the border crisis pretty handily. It's where do we have here? Oh, so the news station is after finding out, well, the whole public are after finding out about a scandal involving the three of you. The only thing is you get to pick what the scandal is. Now, again, I'm mentioning this because I always do it. This is a light entertainment podcast. So if you want to choose a scandal that's a bit light and breezy, absolutely fine. I think there's only one person who openly admitted to murdering someone. So you don't have to go that direction, but yeah.
I was kind of hoping they wouldn't find out about this.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping because it does kind of go against the initiatives that Alpha Gamma put in, but I don't exactly eat healthy all the time. I have my weekly cheeseburgers.
So if I have it correctly, that at the press conference where the journalists were asking the three of you, and when Alpha Beta was up at the mic, Alpha ran up and just couldn't take anymore and admitted, I eat cheeseburgers. I don't eat healthy.
Yep.
That's the scandal we're going with? Like, I mean,
that is what happened. I knew that they were going to find out at some point because behind the theater there is occasionally the hickory smell of barbecue. But
yes,
I wanted to get ahead of it.
I mean, they were actually there to ask about what happened to that poor baby, but that you demeaned and made their father demean. But you've now went, no, I know what'll stop this, or I know what I have to admit to. Alpha Beta and Alpha Gamma, do you have anything to say? Do you agree? Are you involved in this as well, this non-eating healthy way of life?
I was completely blindsided. And I do aim to eat healthily, and we signed a pact showing that we would saying that we would lead by example.
You have a signed contract, but you have a signed pact that, and of course Alpha has broken. And actually, I just wanted to dig into that Alpha Beta, because you have already mentioned that Alpha is actually, in fact, Alpha Gamma. But in fact, Alpha publicly has admitted now that they have broken the pact that you were involved in. So are you now saying that Alpha, who you think is not Alpha, but is actually Alpha Gamma, has betrayed the entire group? That makes sense, Alpha Gamma. Ryan, don't look at me.
It's on brand.
That. So it's on brand. So you're not surprised.
No, not surprised, just disappointed.
And I suppose I'm going to ask Ryan, who is Alpha Gamma, and I'll just refer to as Alpha Gamma as now on. Were you surprised? Do you feel the same way as Alpha Beta, or are you an Alpha?
I was somewhat surprised, but because the majority of the people don't eat that way, Alpha's releases were much more pungent. So
yes.
You knew there was something that he was eating that was causing them to not smell like oranges. So there was a little bit of concern there. I think the most important thing is that if Alpha can abide by the pact that we have signed and can try to live a healthier lifestyle, I think we can move past this. I do think it's good that he went out and got ahead of it and let the people know. Honestly, we needed to cover up the little baby issue too. So this was not necessarily.
Sorry, what's the baby issue? I'm gonna have to pull you up on that. What is the baby issue?
There's no baby issue.
No. No.
Sorry, you
no
just
baby
mentioned a
issues.
baby issue. I'm just curious.
No
Why
baby issues. No.
Burger,
We're good.
burger issue.
Burger issue.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
burger and baby
You-
sound a lot alike. So
Oh,
yeah.
it happens all the time. Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always shocked when I go into McDonald's. Sorry, Alpha Beta, you seem more on the fence about maybe working with Alpha in future. Are you okay with that, or?
I think there need to be some changes. I
Oh.
believe the tearful YouTube apology. I have secured a gray hoodie for Alpha for this purpose, and I as well as a mascara wand, because we see those tears.
Yes.
So far, have been procrastinating on putting out that tearful YouTube apology.
I'm still working on the correct wording so that it comes off as mostly sincere,
Okay.
as most YouTube apologies are.
So you're looking for a mostly sincere apology, not a fully sincere.
No, because there are no full sincere apologies on YouTube, and so I want to make sure that it comes off as mostly sincere. That way, if I do in fact backslide, I'll be able to say I wasn't 100%. I want to give myself some leeway.
Do you plan on now eating healthy, or?
I do plan on definitely making sure that my pineapple intake is higher. I think that will help with the emissions itself. What I have agreed to is that I would then demote myself temporarily to the position of Prime Minister Alpha Delta.
And currently there is no Alpha Delta.
Well, I am currently the Alpha Delta now.
Oh.
I have just demoted myself because of the burger incident, which we are now referring it to as.
And how are we? Well, it's actually nicknamed in the press as Alpha Pungent Gate. They're not great at headlines, if I'm honest. It's one thing I've noticed.
They're not.
No,
they're not.
So do you agree? I suppose the rest of you agree to that? Or what timeline is he going to be, or how long is he going to be referred to as Alpha Delta now?
I think it's about progress, and if he could start eating Impossible burgers that are better for the planet, better for his body, and better for our people, I think we can start to bring him back into the fold where he's in his previous leadership, but he has to be able to.
I will definitely consent to trying an Impossible burger.
Thank you.
I mean, to be honest, I was going to suggest going onto the highest rated news program in the country, but to be honest, this press conference has gone so well. I mean, you really knocked out every excuse and reasoning and everything in it. So, I mean, we can head back to the office if you want. Now, Alpha Delta, is he in the same office or is he in a smaller one, or?
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a smaller office now. Again, it's all sort of temporary. We want to all get along and we want it to work out, but he has to be able to prove that he's doing the work.
There was a email sent to Alpha's email, but I say that's probably not going to be looked at. So, but thankfully, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma are CC'd in this as well. So, I mean, who is again dealing with the more foreign affair issue? That's Alpha.
Now Beta.
Alpha Beta, yeah. So there's quite a serious issue that's after coming in there. Brian in the Department of Defense, he's after getting a phone call from the UN that unfortunately World War III is after breaking up. Bit problematic. Didn't expect it. So the UN are figuring, look, the only way the world is going to get out of this is if every country in the world goes to war with another country. That way it's all fair. Everyone is going to war with each other. There's no bad guy. So they want to know what country is Misfitopia going to war with. And I mean, if you could tell your citizens why, that'd be really handy. Like, why are you picking this country to go to war with?
Circling back to my previous concern about climate, we're going after Australia.
Oh, yes. Why are we going to Australia?
I don't have a problem with the people. I have a problem with the very concept of spiders the size of dinner. I don't find that necessary. I think that it was a very cruel trick of them to invent those.
The Australians. So you're accusing the Australians of inventing their habitat, their natural.
100%,
right.
100%.
So you're going to war. I mean, full scale war. We're talking planes, tanks. Any plan you want to give to the generals? Are we just bombing anything we find, or are we going after cities? Or
I'd say we're infiltrating dressed as spiders.
I mean, you'd be the correct size nearly, aren't you?
If some human Australians are casualties, I mean, that is the bed they've made.
So Brian just wanted to follow up with it, the saying he's getting onto the generals in your army. Just a little bit confused. So you're saying we're sending planes, we're sending tanks, sending all the good stuff, but we're dressing as spiders. Now, are the soldiers dressing as spiders? Are the tanks dressed up as spiders? Is everything dressed as a spider?
We were going to go with everything spiders, but we thought that would be silly.
Yes.
So the tanks are going to be scorpion.
Oh, perfect.
To be fat-tailed scorpion. And for the aquatic attack, I mean, we were going to go with sharks, but that seemed a little bit cliche for us. So saltwater crocodile. With spider legs, just to keep it the theme.
With the tanks and scorpion. Yes, sorry.
Well, Jane, I have an idea, and I want to know if the two of you are amenable to this.
Right.
Because I'd like my office back. Could we also send a very, very public strike team into Germany to attack Hamburg, which would then prove that I am anti-hamburger, and therefore I can maybe get my my standing back in my office.
And your door.
I don't. Yeah. Definitely. We've had to remove the door, so that's probably going to be something you want. I think that's a great idea. I think we only attack the city. We'd attack the entire country. Just one swift attack, just to show that you're really making strides. I think that's a great idea.
I appreciate that.
A side effect which is quite welcome. You know, you said there that Reginald Humbug was a unpopular ruler, right? I mean, Hamburg is a similar enough to Humbug. So some people thought maybe it's a kind of dig at the ex-hated ruler. So it was also a bit, oh look, see, they're still caring about us. So you're attacking Australia, and also, you're attacking Australia, but it's more the dangerous animals and insects and stuff like that, as opposed to the people. You're not really there to kill people. That'd be evil, right?
Exactly.
But you're also sending a special strike team to attack the densely populated by 1.8 million people Hamburg.
Yeah.
So people will relate that to you disliking Hamburg.
Correct.
Fine. Nearly 2 million people dead. And you promoting back to Alpha Alpha?
He's back.
Yes, I get my door back.
Yes. Okay. Alpha Alpha. I really hope I don't have German, or else I need to get them on.
At least not in
Shouldn't
Hamburg.
have invented hamburger.
And he's not in Hamburg, or into hamburgers, or from Hamburg. Oh, so we need to get back to the news channel are on to us again, because they were really impressed. They were going to do a big special report on Alpha Pungent Gate, but people really took to how you handle that. They thought that was fair, concise, and just dealt with it. The news station are going to do a different TV show now. Are we talking to Alpha Gamma again? Because he's the kind of promotional marketing guy, or?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I could, but chime in, please.
Oh yeah. They wanted to ask, so they want to do a new special report about the three of you. This news station is pro Prime Minister, right? They're big into it. So they want to do a propaganda piece on the three of you. So they're asking, what fantastical fact should they tell the people about their rulers, about their tyrants?
The thing is that every night before we go to bed, we all have oat milk and non-gluten cookies together, and we do one big group hug like the Golden Girls. So we're honestly like the end of an episode of a sitcom where everything has come together and we all hug. We even did this when Alpha was he was not really, he had been demoted and everything. We still hugged every single night, because we knew that if there's that old phrase, you never go to bed angry. So we would always have one group hug, some oat milk, some gluten-free cookies, and it allowed us to all be able to sleep well, be energized, and be the leaders that we need to be the next morning. So.
And it seems like something that once this goes out on air, a lot of people are going to either be encouraged or just do it themselves with friends and family, right?
Oh, well, that's the hope, because obviously when we talked about this earlier, but when people hug, a little bit of flatulence goes out, it's good for the energy. It's good for everything. So again, we're big believers in hugs, and don't go to bed angry. And if we can get that out to the people, and maybe even people in Australia and Hamburg to know that, no hard feelings, and we offer them hugs as well now that the fighting is ended.
Well,
in addition to that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Alpha.
I'm saying, in addition to that, after we hug, we have our oat milk and our gluten-free cookies. We go back to our separate residences, and we just tear into that package of chocolate chip cookies. It's so great.
So we all have a pack.
What? Wait. Hang on, Ryan. What? You don't do that?
No, we don't. We have the gluten-free, we have the oat milk, we go to bed, alpha. Do not have extra cookies that have.
Is this another scandal? Oh my God, this we shouldn't have done this report live.
You don't do that. I'm gonna have to have another press conference, aren't I?
I refer you to the gray hoodie and the mascara, and I really think you should take me up on it.
To be fair, was only mostly authentic and
not good.
Okay.
Not good.
Right.
Look at the contract we signed, Alpha. Look at the contract. It says it's
recording.
All right, I'll demote myself again to Alpha Epsilon now.
Alpha Epsilon. Good. I mean, you were running out of letters.
Yeah. I still have a bunch.
You're gonna be a mega before you know it.
There's got to be a way that I can get. We can keep this one hidden though, right?
I mean, we were recording this special report about how great you are live, and then you jumped in.
This is live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you just gotta grab the mic, don't you? You just gotta grab the mic.
I thought we were sharing. I thought we were in the spirit of the friendship, the congeniality, and so on. That Ryan. Okay, all right.
You ruined all of our hugs.
Sorry, there's a photo after coming out. That might be another scandal. It is unfortunately Alpha Epsilon openly carrying cookies into his room. So yeah, there's actually mass resignations from the border guards because of it. They are outraged, but
I think I figured out a way that I can I can sort of bring us back from. I think I need to go on Sesame Street and have a scene with Cookie Monster where we both agree that cookies are sometimes food, and I think I can do that. I think I can. I think I'll be able to. Yeah.
Alpha Epsilon, you don't think. You need to get on Sesame Street.
So you are flying. You are flying to America to get on Sesame Street.
I will fly to America to get on Sesame Street to do a scene where I am convinced that it is better to eat healthy and that these are a sometimes.
And you're flying coach, right?
I will fly coach. In fact, I will go middle seat.
Does he have to change airport? Does he need to change flights, or is it a straight?
Oh no, there are 4 stopovers, and one of them, surprisingly, he has to stop in Minneapolis, so he has to go past Los Angeles to then land in Los Angeles, just to prove that he's really trying to be a better man.
It's also a stopover.
No disrespect to Minneapolis; it's a lovely place.
I mean, the stopover in Hamburg. I mean, that airport is pretty much level.
Yeah.
Which is it's really just one big runway now. So really, it makes it easier for planes to arrive. I really did. Yeah.
So with you fleeing the country, well, not flee. Sorry, that was a misspoken word.
It's a promotional tour.
As you go about trying to make up for get back to alpha status, at least the small council were thinking might be a good idea at this point, because this scandal on top of the last scandal. I mean, the first scandal was handled well, but I mean, if you have 2, suddenly that becomes a pattern. Especially how it was announced seemed to be a bit of a pattern as well. The small council figure, especially for Alpha Beta and Alpha Gamma, might be a good idea to do some sort of photo op, just to show that the 3 of you, those 4 misfits, are still in control of the country. You know, it's a kind of teetering a little. What ideas do you have for photo ops?
I have an idea. And I want to run it by my fellow alphas here.
I will point out you were in America, but yeah.
Well, what I was thinking is could do some sort of a thing where I just have a bunch of cookies and I'm throwing them off a cliff into the ocean, and we could just say, alphas toss their cookies.
And like it's a powerful image, I think. Especially they're in mid-flight, right?
Yeah.
You have pictures of them mid-flight. So in the scene, I mean, you're wearing what was your sash, and you didn't have a black suit and tie, but you had jeans, right?
Yeah, I'm in jeans and a black
jeans
shirt.
and black shirt, of course. The Alpha, Beta, and Alpha, Gamma. You're in the shot, right? You're in the picture. So how are you looking disapprovingly? Are you weeping? Are you,
I have no problem weeping. So I am weeping at the sadness that he has brought upon us, but there is also a little bit of a happy cry there because we know he's coming back into the fold. Yeah, and we're together on this.
Yeah, and Alpha Beta.
I'm attempting to watch, but I'm distracted by a slightly smaller than plate-sized spider crawling up Alpha Gamma's pant leg.
Now, is that an actual spider or is it a paratrooper?
It is a paratrooper because we're tying in a couple of initiatives in first.
Right, because I was thinking, I suppose that war is still ongoing. So,
sadly.
By the way, what is the aim of that war again? It's to cull some of the most dangerous insects and creatures in Australia, right?
Absolutely, with minimal damage to the ecosystem. We will allow them to continue to have drop bears and centipedes, but that is it.
And as that war has been going on a bit, and World War III seems to be running out of steam, I'm just wondering, how did the excursion for Alpha Epsilon go on Sesame Street? Do you feel it went well, or is he coming back? Or
I thought it went well.
Yes,
I thought it was great. I had a great time hanging out with the Muppets itself. I think that I know I had a good time, and I hope that the message played well. For Mizztopia?
Who was your least favorite Muppet? Who did you find was the most difficult to work with?
I necessarily call people out necessarily on this. I'll have to say Elmo was a little bit of a diva.
Well, the funny thing is, Elmo was actually puppeteered by Mr. Humbug, Reginald Humbug. There's a bit of info. It might have been why you were a bit frosty on set.
Yes. He just completely gave me cold felt shoulder the entire time. Would not want to talk. All of the other Muppets were just simply delightful in all reality, and we had some really good discussions on our lunch breaks. But Elmo just hung out in his trailer until he was called.
To be fair, I mean, apart from taking over the country he once ruled, he also is only used to one-man shows. So, it's just a learning curve for him. So you're on your way back. Are you coming back as Alpha now? Is that what we're all agreeing to, or?
I'm going to leave that up to the council to decide on this.
I think we need to wait. You get back here. We'll have a discussion together, and we'll see where and when you can fit back into your role. But we need Alpha Beta. I think we need to also be able to say, hey, if this happens again, it's sort of like the 3-strike rule. We gotta have some ground rules here that if this keeps happening, we might have to take stronger precautions.
What would happen? Yeah, I want to kind of know what would happen. Because I could totally be in line. I could totally follow the path. I just kind of want to know what the punishment.
I mean, demotion to Omega for a start,
and then death. So
yeah, it's a demotion, and then honestly, we might have to execute you.
Sorry, so if I just want to get on to Captain Adam, he's the head of the police force. So if Alpha Epsilon breaks another rule or betrays your trust in the pact and everything, he is to be immediately demoted to Alpha Omega and then immediately sent to the gallows. That's our.
Well, no. He's demoted, and then if there's another infraction after that, then he is possibly he'll stand trial, but the trial could result in execution.
I honestly,
which would be by spiders. So we would
it'd be a kangaroo court because we did steal those during the war.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So you've now got kangaroos on Misfitopia. I mean, there's a lot of them, is there? There's a decent amount. Speaking of the war, actually, you kind of got in there just in time. And now that Alpha Epsilon is back, I don't know whether Alpha Epsilon will be entrusted with this. This is a very serious objective that you've been handed. The UN are back on. They've emailed Lauren as chatted to them, or Brian, sorry, in Department of Defense. The UN have decided, the World War III is finishing up. We've all had a good war. You've gotten some kangaroos and killed some spiders. You've also leveled Hamburg. So we do need to end World War III. Now, what they want us to do, or what they want you to do. The worst leader you can ever imagine. Think of the worst political leader you've ever witnessed in your life. I'm going to say he is coming to Misfitopia. You're going to have a press conference. You're going to announce that the world is no more at war anymore. That's fine, and you're all friends again. So I suppose, they just want to kind of handle how you're going to do this. I assume one of you will be taking the lead on this. I don't know who you want to nominate.
I think Ryan is the prettiest.
Well, I am the prettiest, but Doug, you have been on the outskirts for a lot of this. I think a way of proving that you are back in the fold with us is that you can handle this press conference. Now, as the adorable one, I have no problem introducing you and talking you up, but you have to handle this well because you don't want to get demoted again. So if Alpha Beta agrees, I think we can allow. This is a big one. This is the end of the war. So, but we're gonna allow. So, to tell us how you want to handle this.
So, he's going to come flying in, and he's going to come to your I suppose your office, where there's going to be podiums. I suppose 2 have only been set up because Alpha Epsilon is taking the lead on this. I mean, he's already showed up eating hamburgers coming off the plane and just like throwing them on the ground. So, I mean, he's belligerent. Yeah, he's showing up going,
Now, just so that I'm clear on my strategy on this, we are going to accept their surrender, right?
Oh God, no. He would never surrender to anyone. No. Why would I surrender to this country? Doesn't even have proper smell and farts, is what he would say. No, what we're trying to do is we're all just trying to say together that World War III is over. Every country in the world now likes each other, including awful leader's country and Misfitopia. Just play nice, let him have his little speech, and then he'll go back on the plane and World War III is over. So he is chatting to the international press with, I suppose, the 3 of you are beside him, and he's just eating a hamburger going, I suppose it's a nice country, but I don't really get it. What's the windows about? I wouldn't go on Sesame Street. That's a loser move.
We've actually have a key for this, and this I had put in place about 3 years ago or so, when we have the press conferences between us and the Alphas and any leaders that, let's say, are not going as well, and clearly he's not respecting our customs, our land. What I have is right next to my podium a lever, which I pull, and the steel cage comes down.
Okay.
The podiums will then lower in, and it basically becomes a steel cage match at that point in time.
Okay, so I mean, he is so outraged. He is slowly taking off the rifles that he uses as earrings he was openly carrying them on his ears. But he's outraged, and this guy is pretty cut. He has a good 6-pack on him. Now he takes off his shirt to display muscles, and then immediately phones the UN and says that they're trying to attack me. So the UN now are very angry at all of you. Obviously, especially Alpha Epsilon, who seems to have started a cage match.
But this is where it's kind of brilliant, because when he complains to the UN that we're going to attack, he's going to say they've lowered a steel cage and is going to engage me in a steel cage wrestling match. It sounds so ludicrous, they're not going to believe him.
I mean,
and we can basically do what it is that we want.
I mean, there are cameras again, Alpha Epsilon. This is live.
Theatrics. No, but nobody could believe this is happening. This is something out of like an improv show. It is so bizarre. It's staged.
So, the international press are there, and Dower Serious Man of Straight News All News Network, he is reporting live saying that this is definitely a cage match. There is no theatrics here.
Which is something theatrics would say.
I mean, they do have an analyst in their studio back in their own country, Mr. Humbug, I believe, who says, well, clearly this is not. I've been involved in this in Misfitopia for years, actually, in the theater. This isn't theatrics. This is very serious. So, I mean, the UN are fairly certain this is serious. They're looking to sanction the whole country.
Was War of the Worlds, the radio drama, not put on as being genuine? of course everything is going to appear genuine. That's theater. This is a great theater.
I guess at this point, the international press are looking at Alpha Beta and Alpha Gamma, while Alpha Epsilon is pleading through the caged bars that this is theater and something about War of the Worlds. At the international press, again, the Dour Serious Man, he's asking, why have you now decided to attack this poor leader?
We've decided to reframe it as this is not so much a fight as it is a seduction.
Okay.
Think of two lorikeets or budgies in a cage.
Okay.
That's sort of what's happening. So, and we're saying, the leader of this other country is clearly doing a mating display.
By eating hamburgers in front of...
hamburgers with his shirt off.
Oh, he took the shirt off after the cage lord. But yes, I see your point. Yes.
Right. And so Alpha, Alpha, Epsilon, Omega, Delta, it's his choice as to whether to throw hands or to, by which I mean he has a basket of disembodied hands.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, yes.
But, people were open carrying their hands at the border.
Yes. Confiscated them, yeah.
Yes. He has to choose either violence or deeper connection.
So, again, awful leader, who I just haven't given a name to.
Awful leader.
He is still standing there, bare-chested with fists clenched, expecting a fight.
I
mean, I get what you're saying. It seemed like a seduction technique from him, eating hamburgers in front of Alpha Pungent Scandal Man, Gate Man. But yes.
He's expecting a physical fight.
Right.
I never said there would actually be a physical fight between the two of us. No, we're doing an improvisation off.
Okay, so he's immediately climbing the cage, just outraged, because unfortunately his grandfather was killed in a very bad improv sketch. It was tragic.
We all have our demons.
It actually started the Hindenburg disaster.
Yeah,
the important thing is because this is live, this is going to arguably be the greatest theatrical performance ever seen ever in the world. This moment of seduction, improv fighting is going to be, we really believe this is going to be so good, it is going to unite everyone to hug together around the world.
So as the awful leader,
releasing oranges and roses
everywhere.
So I suppose to recap, the awful leader came into the country, admittedly very aggressive in his diplomacy, eating hamburgers. He was openly carrying guns as earrings. It just seems like at the press conference when the cage lowered, which some would say the natural reaction is to for him to think that it's a physical fight. Some would say it was a miscommunication and was a seduction technique or an improv starting point. But either way, he has fled the cage, sprinted for his life, bare-chested, to his private plane. So now he is leaving. The international media seems very confused because it seems the three of you are still protesting that this wasn't a physical confrontation. I mean, he is immediately flying to the UN. He is going there to convince them Misfitopia is a disaster. It needs to be sanctioned heavily and just indebted. You think it went well? The three of you think it went okay?
I thought Alpha, Epsilon, Beta, I thought he gave the performance of a lifetime. I think the UN is going to agree with us and is going to say that we were the intentions were all good, and he's an evil dictator guy. I mean, he came in doing absolutely horrible things, coming into our country, so he won't win at the UN. We are going to be united together. We won't have the sanctions, I don't believe. And I think the three of us hopefully can go back to ruling our country as a united force.
I mean, I'll have to check in maybe later and see how the UN are doing, but I will note that, I mean, you did attack Australia, so they're probably not on your side. And also you attacked Germany, which, are kind of the main superpower in, Hamburg is still Germany.
Somebody.
I mean, you did openly state, you bragged in a way about turning Hamburg into a big runway. I mean, it is a big city in the country. Do you say, well, we just attacked New York, we attacked America? Like,
air traffic has never run smoother.
But that's what, maybe Germany mightn't take as kindly to that. So we'll have to see. Maybe they'll have a bit of a coalition, but But overall, you're happy with how it went.
Barring that, Plan B is increasing the number of windmills on the island, increasing that and concentrating them in one area in the hopes that we can actually shift the position of the island, sort of, motorboat style, and just become a traveling island in hopes that we can't be pinned down for our responsibilities.
Well,
we'll call it the Winds of Change.
The Winds of Change.
Like it.
Make a good documentary out of that. And you know what?
Yeah.
Just your small council has just noted, Lauren has just noted, if you are moving your country, I mean, you're in the Mediterranean. Malta isn't that far away. So if you move a bit, you could always just claim, no, that was Malta. No, listen, we live here. Malta, you must have went to Malta. Malta are very like that. They could buy it.
That's what I heard. It was all Malta. We keep to ourselves.
Yeah, they're the only country that are around there. I suppose, the international press are asking, do you all think it was Malta, or?
We don't think we know.
Oh, it was Malta.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And they attacked Hamburg. So you're saying Malta leveled the city?
Do we look like people that would actually attack just one city because
surely it'd be a full country.
To hamburgers? Come on, that's silly.
Yeah. Such a contrived Hamburg, like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hamburgers don't even come from Hamburg, as Alpha Beta pointed out.
So Malta, bunch of bastards, aren't they?
Yeah,
right?
Not good. Not good.
Not good. And I mean, and just them gaslighting the planet and saying to us.
Right.
That's a bit horrible.
And as it is, MAL means bad anyway, mal. And right there, the first three letters right there, Malta.
It's practically right there in the name. Do you kind of wish that you had attacked Malta now back in World War III? Maybe World War IV, you might turn around and give them a hiding.
Well, we're keeping our options open. I mean,
their wildlife doesn't bother me.
Hamburg seems pretty easy, right? You could go for them again. Sure. But yeah, so I have about 3 questions left. So we have good news. I'm gonna give this question to kind of all 3 of you. You'll all get a say. So Paul in finance has let you know that he did some calculation, and good news for you. We have a lot of money in Misfitopia. So your citizens, the Misfitopians, they would like to build a big statue of each of you, or a big statue or something big in your honor. So I suppose I'll go with Alpha Epsilon first. What can we build for you, Alpha?
You know, I've done a lot of thinking on this one, and in light of my various scandals and problems that I've had, I think instead of a monument to me, because that really kind of sounds it kind of like too much of an ego. But I think I'm going to take more of a humility route, and I'd like to kind of bring not only our citizens together, but other people in the world together.
Yes.
And I think what I'd like to do, just in the keeping of our customs, I'd like to buy the world a Coke. Just
Coca-Cola, not drugs.
A can of Coca-Cola.
Okay. So everyone in the world.
Everybody in the world can have a nice, healthy can of Coca-Cola, because we are all about eating, healthy drinking, so everybody can have a Coca-Cola. And I think that would just embody the spirit.
So we will get on. So it'd be, screw the building a statue or anything. You're just buying everyone in the world a Coke.
Everybody gets a Coca-Cola.
Elon Musk gets a Coke.
Sure, and his will be delivered by yes.
Oh, we're getting them all delivered.
Alpha, what? Why are you? What? It's a great idea. It brings everybody together.
He never learns.
He doesn't. First of all, Coca-Cola has
delicious.
A ton of calories, a ton of caffeine. You could have given water to the world. But you chose Coca-Cola. The only good thing is if they're cans, they can be recycled. That's the only positive thing. You had so many options here.
Can I also point out that there's 7.75 billion people in the world, and I mean, I'm going off of Ireland, where it's like €1, roughly €1, I think, for a can. So you're talking at least 7.75 billion euro just to buy the cans, and then to actually deliver them. I am going to conservatively guess it's another couple of billion. Like, you could be talking 20 billion on this project. Not, hey, we have a lot of money, but just putting it out there.
It's delicious. and I mean, if people don't want the Coca-Cola, we're not gonna force anybody to have it. But I think that by having everybody have a Coca-Cola, it's gonna bring the entire world together.
So sorry, can I just actually interrupt, because I mean, I have no say either yes or no. I mean, whatever you want to disagree and agree on. But if I sometime get sponsored by Coke, this is great. So if you can say that again, fantastic.
See, Coca-Cola will bring the world together. How did the two other alphas not see this? It's Coca-Cola.
To be clear,
amazing.
Coca-Cola is great, and it's great every once in a while, but
every day.
Every day.
Sorry, yes, go ahead. I'll stop now.
You have a cheeseburger, chocolate chip cookies, and a Coca-Cola. That is an amazing meal.
Coca-Cola makes a bunch of other things. The company makes water. You could have given water to everybody. Water is good for you. Coke actually does that. And what is it with these burgers and
just putting this out there, since we already went after Hamburg, we don't have to buy the Coke. We just conquer Atlanta, where the Coca-Cola company is.
Also, don't forget to try new Coca-Cola Cherry. Explore the taste.
And if you're in the UK, make sure to get some.
And they have Coca-Cola Free now, which tastes like regular Coca-Cola without as many calories. Alpha, beta,
it's practically
epsilon.
health food.
So the
carbonation is going to help with the gas thing, which is going to give us more wind power. See, I'm only really thinking about the country.
I swear, half the time I ask Alpha Epsilon a question, it turns into a scandal, a self-inflicted wound of a scandal. But hey, look, I'm all on board. If I can get a sponsorship of this, even better. But yeah, no.
I can't believe the two of you are. Are you seriously going to demote me now down to Omega because of this idea?
Not for this one, but
but you are still promoting burgers and eating cookies, so you're on the border of getting demoted. You really are.
I just said they were delicious. I didn't say that we were going to have those.
He has not been demoted yet.
Okay, so for Paul just was saying that, what we spend money on for Alpha Epsilon, we're sending a Coke to everyone. Is that right?
That is my plan.
Okay. Yeah, so then with that, I'm guesstimating 20 billion spent. Alpha Beta, how are we going to build a statue for you, or whatever you want, whatever big initiative you want?
My statue would be me suplexing a wombat, sort of in keeping with my greatest campaign ever against the Australian.
Oh, yes. So suplex is in like a wrestling move suplex, right? Where you over your back.
Yeah, just holding it over my head and sort of, depending on how, I think we can create the illusion that I am in mid-throw.
Well, the architects came back to us and they said they have a great idea. That big mountain that's on the island, we can actually have you like as if you're kind of like on the mountain, but you're going backwards with the wombat, as if you're doing a giant one off the mountain.
Ooh,
so yeah, 20 foot Alpha Beta suplexing a wombat.
I mean, money well spent.
A fraction of the cost of Coke being delivered to everyone. Amazingly.
But I'm bringing world peace. She's suplexing a wombat.
Oh, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, Coke in every hand is world peace, and also it's a fraction of the cost. That's a great idea.
Gift shop right by your statue where we give away Coke.
Yes.
So hard, and he's still Alpha Epsilon. We're just making sure that. Okay.
I mean, he's going to work his way up the alphabet if he keeps having great ideas.
And then Alpha Gamma. Paul is just asking, what's your idea for the money?
Well, being the adorable one, I believe in having a positive message. So
yes.
It is the group. It is a group of all different types of individuals. We're all hugging, but we're all facing each other with our butts out, and
yes,
and we're all exposing the world to the beautiful flagellance of our country. And if people happen to drink a Coke and it causes a little of that, then there's more energy for the world. We're all happier.
So do you want us to set this, so the statues is of the three of you hugging, right? With your butts out. I mean, are they placing that under the mountain?
Yes.
That you may land, that wombat may land on those three. I mean, it never will, but
there's because we're united together, we can conquer anything. So,
and
that wombat.
And I mean, the way that other statue is kind of looking, it's probably going to be like you're catching Alpha beta as she falls off the mountain. Anyway.
Exactly.
We did have to choose that location at the base of the mountain because there were some natural geysers, and so that was a perfect opportunity to make the statue to animate it to make it more interactive.
Oh yes,
exactly.
yes. And you have a Coke store gift shop beside it.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, of course. It's all about merchandising.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
So we do have we're getting those built, and we have the Coke initiative, free Coke initiative, well underway. Everyone is getting a free Coke. Paul has some bad news in finance, unfortunately. Yeah, he checked
in with the Coca-Cola sponsorship. What?
Well, he was drinking the Coke and he was loving it. And then he looked at his spreadsheet again, and he forgot that there was a minus sign. So of course he did the spit out the Coke thing. That was unfortunately captured live on camera. So the Coca-Cola company aren't too happy with that. Their share price has gone down 4%. But anyway, Paul has noticed that he forgot about a minus sign. So it actually turns out that your country wasn't, didn't have a surplus of 20 billion. It was actually minus 20 billion. So now with the extra 20 billion that was spent on the Coke, that's gone into minus 40 billion. I mean, amazingly, the other two statues, they kind of boosted the country with a bit of tourism. So they actually turned into neutral cost. They paid for themselves, whereas free Coke obviously can't pay for itself. So yeah, your country's bankrupt. The IMF are coming in. They want to find out what plan you have to make money, or else they're taking over the country. So I don't know who I'm directing that to, or how do you want to
I don't know about you guys, but I think we have to attack Malta at this point and try to take anything we can from them. Clearly they are a threat. We're heading in that direction. We need the money. So
I mean, this is live again on the street when the journalists come up.
I understand. At this point, we have to. I mean, if we're this negative, we need to explore all options, and I think our citizens will unite behind us.
I also suggest that we return to our roots and we perform an improv show, and we just charge 10,000.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
If I may, we combine them and we make it kind of like a I don't know if you've got any of these, but back in the United States, they would have places like Medieval Times or the Pirates Theater, where you have like the dinner theater. Because we have the windmills that are sending our floating island over towards Malta, let's suppose we dress as pirates or something like that and attack as we go past. It would be as if it's a stage show, and they won't even understand. They won't even get the fact that they're under attack. They're like, oh, this is theater, and we've taken over their economy before they even realize it.
Beautiful.
I do like your generals have noticed that Alpha Epsilon, his tactic is usually around confusion, and how he believes that everyone will believe that anything you do is a stage show and be completely paralyzed by that as you
that is politics
attack a country.
By its definition.
Yes, and your time on Sesame Street well spent. By the way, just so you know, Malta is the 11th richest country in the EU, so you might get some money out of that. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So you're telling the IMF, Paul is going to go back to the IMF and say, don't worry, we know how to get out of our difficult financial situation. We are going to mess up Malta. We are stealing that country, everything that country has. So you're openly saying that. That's fine.
We're effectively doing a stale-by attack.
Okay.
Of Malta. Yeah.
Now, the UN has responded by sanctioning Misfitopia for starting a war so soon after World War III has ended. And plus, that guy didn't buy the whole cage was a stage show seduction technique. We're not really Malta. So yeah, your country is, I mean, whatever this country exports, it's not being allowed to. But they said thanks for the free Coke. But
well, there's that at least. So
they've actually used all the cans to build a massive. They've fenced your country in, massive ring around that you can't actually get past. There's so much, like just 7.7 billion Coke cans lining your country.
Oh, clearly they never went to a fraternity party. Anytime you build up a great big thing of cans, that's a challenge to be able to knock it down. And we have with that as well.
Challenge accepted.
Oh yeah, I mean it is flanked by the world's military, but you are just like I am running through that. So now you're on the run, is what you're trying to say. Okay. It's turning into. Do you remember Waterworld?
Yeah.
Do you remember the bad? Do you remember what's his name? Dennis Hopper's like base.
The Deacon. He had great hair.
Yeah, so it is turning a little bit like that.
And it was a financial disaster, but later on, the movie continued to find a new audience and make money. So
future generations will vindicate Misfitopia, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Lovely.
We're
thinking working on growing gills.
You're working on doing movie deals.
Growing gills.
Oh, so you're heading the science development division of the country, is what you're suggesting.
Yeah. We're kind of branching out into that. It's all the experiments have been fatalities.
Doesn't seem to have phased you.
Can't make an omelet, right?
I can't either.
Our science program has had some problems making omelets, so as well, which is why there's been so many experimental deaths. If we used the chocolate eggs, it probably would have worked a little bit better.
Yes. So your science division is made up of trying to get. Why are people getting gills? So you just think
we're going with the Waterworld.
We love Waterworld.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just right.
The Mariner had gills.
So as your country is being sanctioned, which means that you're a heavily indebted country with the UN after you because you've broken through the Coke can dam, you're spending your resources on trying to get gills and how to learn how to make an omelet.
Yes, starting a new life underwater.
Oh, cool.
And in all reality, what theater hasn't been debt, right?
That is true. And you do treat the country like a theater in a way, right?
It is a theater.
It is a theater. I do have, I suppose I would mention that your small council have been found. The Captain Adam has bad news where half of your small council, 6 of them, were actually caught emailing old Reginald Humbug asking him to come back. We have the 6 of them. Who wants to take this? Who's the defense person? What do you want to do with him?
It's Alpha Beta.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me, Alpha Beta. What would you like to do with him?
He can come in.
Oh.
If he promises to work the door at our show.
I mean, to be fair, those 6 people are bringing him in to replace you and to have you 3 killed. So.
Hey, all right, that takes a little bit.
I mean, that's what they were caught for. They were openly planning it in public.
Oh, all right. I mean, he's 88. I feel like we could take him.
He's 89 now. He had a birthday.
I didn't even send him a card.
Yeah. You send him Coke.
We'll send him a bottle of Coke. Yeah.
I mean, he must have been in there.
Honestly, I don't think you can afford a bottle of Coke. But
yeah, that's accurate.
If I may, I think I might have a way to be able to defeat Reginald in this one.
Sorry, can I just say, if I may there for a second? I'm pretty sure every time you said "if I may," it's led to a demotion, a sanction. So I'm all ears. I'm fascinated.
This is a fail-proof plan. We will extend an olive branch to him because he's 89 now. We know that his health, let's say, may not necessarily be the greatest. And one of the things that was one of the big priorities that we had was we actually had a really good healthcare plan. I really wish you would have asked about that. That would have definitely helped, but we have an amazing healthcare plan. So what I figure we would do is when he arrives to sort of give a bit of an olive branch, we say, you look as though you might, let's say, not have been eating as well. We'd like to bring you to the doctor first. And we go big photo op, bring him to the doctor. As he sits down, we just smack him upside the head with a can of Dr. Pepper. I think that's going to do it.
So you're going to smack an 89-year-old man who's in good physical shape.
We win. Not anymore. Go can of Dr. Pepper right upside the head.
Have you killed the man?
The war. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I'll be honest. Well, he's not moving, and you are fighting a war in several. But
we've just won the war then.
No, but you fought an internal civil war, and even the winning part is a little bit. What happens to the 6 half of the small council who are currently arrested?
I can't fix every problem.
Oh yeah, no. Just are we letting them go, or are we?
And by the way, nobody's going to know about him because of the actor-patient confidentiality.
This is live though. Alpha, Beta, Gamma.
Yeah, he came in on
the entire thing has been live.
Yeah, no, he was doing it on Facebook Live. He was coming in saying, "Hey, thanks for welcoming me back. I'm going to take over the country again." So yeah, that was suddenly a Dr. Pepper can, which Coke were like, "Why didn't you use a Coke can? We could have worked something out," but they're not.
It wouldn't have worked with the joke, actually.
I should say, me and Gamma did talk to Alpha Delta Epsilon Omega.
Yes.
And explain to him the concept of live and recording and listening.
I'm sorry, what?
So I don't know what to tell you about the If I May saga. But he's our Alpha Delta Epsilon.
So if anything, these If I May sagas have strengthened your pact in a way.
Oh yeah.
Would you think fair?
Yeah, I think they have. I think they have. And those 6 people for the next year and a half have to rotate doing the door to every single performance. So that is going to be their payback. They're not getting paid anything. This is their community service that they have to work the door.
So when one is on the door, the other 5 just go home and wait their day, is it? Or
and they clearly can't watch the show. They're not allowed to watch the show. I mean, that's part of their punishment.
I mean, they're probably then going to still carry out their plan. I mean, they're still, they still don't want you ruling the country.
Yeah, we could set up doctor's appointments with them.
They're probably not going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, our healthcare plan is great, and I've got a whole 6-pack.
But I mean, they have seen. They're probably going to twig that. Wait a minute, we keep getting weekly doctor appointments. Like now, really pushing, and don't wear a helmet or anything. Like
it's part of our health initiative.
Yes.
And they understand that as part of this whole process is they do have to go to the doctor very often. And if they don't comply, then we're going to have to stronger measures.
Oh, so they aren't complying. I mean, they're
not.
No, they're trying to assassinate you. They're not really.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we're going to need some more Dr. Pepper.
We might have to just invest in some Dr. Pepper and
I have a hookup. I can bring a bunch of Dr. Pepper stuff in. I mean, Dr. Pepper is still fine in our country, right?
And it's
in limited quantities.
I mean, we have been sending the coke to medical.
Yeah. I mean, so if these 6 traitors, if they're not going to the clinic to get their doctor's appointment, are you going to chase them down with Dr. Pepper? Is that the plan? So they are staying. Yeah. I mean, I suppose Captain Adam will let you know. I mean, are you leaving it to him to chase down these 6? I mean, are you going to go to the funeral of Reginald Humbug?
Oh yeah.
Well, as a publicity for just showing we're united and he was a former leader. Yeah, we'll be going to the funeral.
I mean, it was live, so it's obvious that you all were involved in killing the man.
But to offset that, for the day, we will allow the Sims to wear black.
Yes.
Yep.
Are you allowing the body of Reginald Humbug to wear black?
I was thinking of dressing him up like Scrooge.
Oh, that'd be very nice.
Because that's how everybody would remember him anyway. And I think during the service, having a nice PowerPoint up there.
Yes.
Because everybody will pay attention to the PowerPoint. I think that it will be a fitting Bisphotonian tribute to Reginald.
So just a bit of an update with the UN. They have now targeted your Dr. Pepper supplies coming in. I know it's been smuggled in by people, but they're really going after that. So just letting you know about that. Yeah. So if you're planning on taking out more people through Dr. Pepper to the head, it might be difficult. You might need another can.
Jolt.
Of which?
Jolt's Cola.
Jolt? I've never even heard of it. But
Jolt's Cola. Yeah. I think we just need to start importing Jolt's Cola now.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose the whole sanction and you being a country that's a pariah on the run from the world. By the way, what ocean are you kind of landed up in now? I assume you got out of the Mediterranean, right? You got out of there. Are you somewhere in the Atlantic, or we just don't know? Or you like the island and lost?
Baltic Sea.
Ah, okay. So the weather has changed a bit, right?
It has.
Just a little. Yeah, we've had to dip into the costume wardrobe stuff from Christmas Carol. Luckily, we don't throw anything out.
So the last question I'd give to people, and I can ask this to each of you again, at some point, I assume there's going to be a point where you decide it's time, we've done everything we can with Miss Fedopia. It's time to announce an heir who's going to lead on from your position as Alpha Epsilon, Alpha Beta, and Alpha Gamma. So I know you each have a dressing room. I would imagine at some point you're going to make an announcement that you have a big announcement to make. So a lot of people are going to come to your door or wherever you're going to stand and listen to you as you announce. So I'll start with Alpha Gamma first, and I'll work the other way. So Alpha Gamma, who would you name as your heir, and what speech would you give to announce their ascendancy? I'll just mention if it can be someone who's actually alive, not a hypothetical great-grandson.
I think Captain Atom has done a phenomenal job. He is good at war and peace, and I think he can bring the country together as we leave. He has talked about initiatives of even more windmills when the money starts to flow back in eventually. And I think Captain Atom is really going to unite our people. I have a beautiful sash to give him. I think he's going to love it. He's going to look fantastic in it. And I think he's gonna be the one that's gonna kind of bring things together. Captain Atom is also he can be a little angry at times, but he's also adorable. So he's got a little bit of everything.
He's actually currently on the side of a mountain chucking the last of the Dr. Peppers at the last traitor who's hanging onto the wombat that's been suplexed off. So it might take him a while. He'll eventually get him. It's hard to aim. Good. But yeah, he seems keen for it. And all the people know about him.
Yeah, they all know him. They all seem to like him. So yeah.
So you're happy. Are you planning on staying in the country, or are you going to leave? Or I mean, you can't. The options might be limited a bit, but
I mean, I have gills now, so if I want to kind of swim somewhere, I can. So we'll see how it goes. See how the power goes. I can see myself taking a vacation somewhere. Yes. It's sort of a neutral country would be nice. But we'll see how it goes. Captain Atom and I are good buds, so I think
you're not going to step on toes.
Okay there.
No. I think everyone who was gathered at your door was really happy with the Captain Atom announcement. He seemed a popular fellow. So when we turn to Captain Alpha Beta, and we say who's your heir, we all wait with bated breath.
I would say, after careful consideration, Anne Hathaway.
Oh, and have you announced? Does she know about this, or?
We have not spoken. I did DM her about it 3 years ago, and she replied with a smiley face. So I think that's as good. As good a confirmation as we need. It's just I feel like after all of the turmoil and the scandals, not saying that our government embroiled in, I think somebody unproblematic.
Yes,
would be a good choice.
3 years ago would have been pre-Malta blaming, I guess. So do you think that would have changed her mind, or do you think she might be less keen now? Or
I would hope that someone's smiley face emoji is their bond.
That's true. It's a pact in a way.
But we need her now more than ever.
Now, are you going to wait for her to respond, or are you just leaving and assuming? Again, it's a pact. She did a smiley face.
I'm leaving and assuming. Yes. I mean, there is a possibility that she's jealous because between the three of us, we have 4 Oscars.
Yes.
She only has 1. So
again, this is live, so if she's seeing this and she's on the fence, she might take offense.
I've been hanging around with Alpha.
But it's true. We have
Beta Delta Epsilon. I'm Beta for too long.
So you're going to leave.
Live.
So you've announced it. She's going to do great. She's unproblematic. We need a bit of an image, good image anyway. Someone up there with a good image. And are you leaving the country? I don't know if you have gills, but are you leaving the country altogether? Or
I've developed a gill.
One gill.
One gill, kind of on the shoulder area. So I will be let go and let God, and I will be taken to the ocean.
Lovely. I guess people are a little bit confused because, I mean, as you jump into the water and leave, they're not, I suppose they're kind of waiting on Anne Hathaway to possibly show up. She doesn't seem to be mentioning anything about it. So currently they're still like, they're a bit lost on your side of the door. But as we move over to Alpha Epsilon with the people there, they've heard rumblings. Anne Hathaway might be a ruler someday. Captain Atom is coming down from the mountain. He's definitely on board. And Alpha Epsilon, do you have an announcement to make? Who's your heir, or what's the plan?
I do. I've actually given this a lot of thought, and I am a firm believer in all reality of leaving a place better than we found it.
Yes.
And in all reality, I'd like to honor the work that my fellow Alphans have done. Yes, Alpha, Beta, and Alpha.
Yes.
I know we were paying attention here with the Alphans, right? Exactly. For my heir, I've decided to bring in somebody who respects the time-honored tradition of theater.
Yes.
As well as is somebody that really is a joiner and brings people together and works well with others, works with all sorts of different people. So for my heir, I have decided to bring in Pete Davidson, the cast member of Saturday Night Live.
Right. Again, this is live.
I know. Well, to date.
You and him used to date?
Yes. Before he was with Kim Kardashian. We were together for about 47 hours.
Right.
And we got along great.
Practically a weekend.
So yeah, I think he would be an amazing addition to take my place.
Did you two meet in a steel cage?
We did. We absolutely did. It was a cut scene from Saturday Night Live that we were going to be working on when I came in to work on Sesame Street. I stopped by the Saturday Night Live studios. We filmed the scene. It got real hot and heavy, and it got along great.
So you
I think
did you approach him about being your heir?
He floated the idea by me, and I kind of did like one of these we'll see. And over the years, I've been thinking, you know what? He fully encapsulates the Misfitonian creed.
So while you were in Sesame Street, not getting along with Elmo because he was the former ruler of Misfitopia.
Well, it's Elmo, yeah.
And it's Elmo. You went on to Saturday Night Live to film a scene that ultimately was cut. It didn't reach the final product. But Pete Davidson approached you, had a romantic relationship over the weekend, and then suggested that he should rule in your place.
It would be rude if he suggested it before we got romantically involved.
Fair
point.
In
all honesty. So we had to wait till after.
Do you think he was interested in you then, or do you think he was only doing the romance to get to the job promotion?
Well, I wasn't thinking that before now.
I'm just, hey, I'm just a citizen here. I'm just asking. What? I'm not, I don't know the guy. I'm just asking. Hold on a minute. Don't give out to me.
Down into this whole thing. Did you think?
Hey, you set me on this fucking rock that's traveling around the Baltic because I can't get a Diet Coke anymore. Sorry, I'm the citizen. I'm not Kevin the advisor.
You said you're the one that inserted the doubt in my mind. He was the heir apparent, and I think that maybe he and whoever he'll be dating that week would be wonderful together. And now you've thrown doubt into my choice.
In fairness, I have to sow a bit of doubt in your mind, because if I openly stayed hiring Pete Davidson to fucking manage right beside good old Captain Adam,
did you insert
I get in trouble.
Insert doubt for Ryan? Did you insert doubt for Jane?
Captain Adam can hit a fucking traitor from 100 yards with a can of Dr. Pepper. Anne Hathaway, I'm sorry, isn't showing up, so we don't have to deal with her. Pete Davidson could show up.
I was perfectly confident in my choice before you go ahead and you inserted this.
Well, I'm sorry, but the other two people, even if you don't agree with their choices, they've off with gills. You, I don't believe, I can't see, have gills. So you're stuck here giving us shit about Pete Davidson.
Oh, on contraire, I've already set up my residency in Las Vegas. I'm going to be at the Caesars Palace doing 5 shows a day.
Oh, wait, and how are you getting there? By gills?
Windmill on a raft.
So your idea is to leave the whole country with Pete Davidson.
Captain Adam and Anne Hathaway are there too.
Anne Hathaway isn't showing up. We can all agree with that.
Captain
all the
Adam
citizens.
Is there.
And Captain Adam is leaving the country hamstrung by Pete Davidson.
Well, Pete Davidson has experience because by his own admission of Staten Island.
See?
Oh, okay. Do you just pop out of water just to point that out and then?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll go with that. So, as Misfitopia is still racing around the Baltic, being chased by the UN, we have the former Alpha Gamma, who has you are kind of just staying on the island, are you? Even though you have gills. And I believe, and Captain Adam has taken your place.
Yes, correct.
But you're staying on the island. Then we have Alpha Beta, who has just disappeared like a myth, promising that Anne Hathaway will show up. It's not happening. but can't really complain now. And Alpha Epsilon, you are leaving by
for my residency in Vegas.
For your residency in Vegas
with the windmill, yes.
And you don't see any problems. You don't see like you'll be arrested by the United Nations or anything like that when you're there. I mean, did you get a guarantee that everything was legit?
I would assume that if I say that I'm doing an exile, I'll live in exile, then they'll probably let me go.
Right, but I suppose what I mean is you don't think that they told you have a job in Vegas to go to and it'll be great. But really, they're just getting you there so they can arrest you, put you in chains.
Vegas loves a rehabilitative story.
Right.
And I think that if I go there saying I'm going to rehabilitate my image,
they'll go for
they'll be able to, they'll be able to go ahead and, find something for me.
Cool. I mean, it's a remarkably positive ending to I think it'd be fair to say Alpha Epsilon was the one who was causing some of the international incidents. But yeah, so that's basically how Misfitopia ends for your regime.
But I figure also in 5 years' time, what's better than a reunion tour? We get the Misfits together, yes. We do a show, and proceeds will get Misfitonia out of debt.
So you think that'll be such a mega show?
It's a reunion tour.
And in fairness, between that and Captain Adam managing the country seemingly, I mean, the amount of money that you're going to get in at least that amount of all the free Cokes.
In fact, I think we could be sponsored by Coke at this point.
Hopefully. Yeah, a bit rocky. Any words to describe, one word to describe how your administration went or how you feel it went?
I think it went no worse than any other country.
That's true, but it's ups and downs. Remarkably, again, Captain Adams seemed to be a protege. It's like he guided him into a leadership position. Do you think that's fair to say? Yeah.
Your feed is gone out there, Ryan. We can't hear you. He's working on the audio.
Maybe it's because once he said he was finished being a ruler, he meant it. There was no more questions answered. Okay, that is. Do you know what? I've said this every episode. Still don't have an outro for this podcast. But that is still how we end Misfitopia. Someday, hopefully, we'll be able to come back when it's not under sanction. But I do, again, have to thank Doug Kane, Ryan Preventure, and Jane Hopkins. That is known also as the Prime Minister's Alpha, 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 Beta, and Alpha Gamma. Depends who you ask who Alpha Alpha is. Could be Doug Kane or it could be Ryan Preventure. But yeah, they are known as those four misfits. And thank you, first of all, very much for joining me. Do you have anything to plug, like social media links, stuff like that?
Yeah, in fact, all of our stuff can be accessed through our website at those4misfits.com. Yes. Jane has done a good job on the site there. We also have a YouTube page where we have all 99 of our various sketches that are up there, and we are working on the holiday special.
Number 100.
Number 100.
Nice.
Exactly. We are all on Twitter as well. If you want to go ahead and give your Twitter handle, Jen.
Oh, mine is Janathan the Blue. So like Jonathan.
And Ryan.
Because I'm a big James Bond film fan, Ryfilm 007 is mine.
And I am the Doug Kane.
K-A-Y-N-E.
Yep.
Add an E.
K-A-Y-N-E, yes.
Yeah, throw an E. Why not?
Yep, and Those Four Misfits is also on Twitter as well. We have Instagram. We've got Facebook. We got all that stuff.
I assume for anyone listening that this is out in like January or maybe February. It started in 2022. So I imagine, I don't know, are ye, because we're filming this now before Christmas, I don't know, are ye, will you plan on doing live shows again in the new year? I don't know, are you planning that? But for anyone who is listening, you should check that out, and you might, or whatever.
Yep, we're back to doing the live shows in January. In fact, we're back on January 7th, 2022, and we're going to keep going and until we either get tired of each other or we end up with some sort of a war against Malta.
Do you think that you managed to rule together effectively? Because I mean, you didn't actually go to war with each other, which is quite nice. I mean, 3 people trying to rule one island is tough.
One of the things
I think we did pretty well considering as a general. I think.
Yeah, I honestly, I was full certain that you were going to kick one person out, but no, didn't happen.
How dare you try to?
It seemed it just seemed like the general. You keep breaking the pact, Alpha epsilon as you were moving down the alphabet. But okay, cool. Okay, anyone who is listening, everyone who is listening, thank you very much. If you would please like or subscribe, or especially leave a review. Apparently that is very handy and very cool. And thank you very much. And I assume we'll be here next week with another guest. So thank you and goodbye.